Who will lead the Commerce Department? Also, what does the Commerce Department do again?
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. On the road and at home, customers can simplify their insurance needs and protect what's important by bundling home and auto with Progressive Insurance. Learn more about Progressive and bundling at progressive.com.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore in for David Brancaccio. President-elect Donald Trump has settled on a pick for Commerce Secretary, the CEO of the investment bank Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer joins us now live with more. Hi, Nancy.
Hey, Sabri.
So Howard Lutnick still, of course, would need to be confirmed by the Senate, but what do we know about him?
Well, Lutnick is co-chair of Trump's transition team. He also helped raise a lot of money for Trump. He is a populist, Sabri, who's spoken out on tariffs.
When was America great? This is 125 years ago. We had no income tax, and all we had was tariffs.
Tariffs, trade policy, that is something that largely falls under the Commerce Department, and Trump has promised more tariffs. What is Commerce's role there?
Well, the Commerce Department enforces U.S. trade laws, and that would include tariffs. Commerce also determines if foreign companies are dumping products into the U.S. at an unfairly low price. Then Commerce can impose anti-dumping penalties. And in a post on Truth Social, Trump said Lutnick would have additional responsibility for the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Now, officially, the USTR only reports to the president and Congress.
What else does the Commerce Department do that Mr. Lutnick would oversee?
Commerce is just a sprawling government agency, Sabri. It counts the U.S. population every 10 years during the census. Commerce is involved in restrictions on exports of U.S. technology to China. The Bureau of Economic Analysis is part of Commerce, and it produces economic data on things like gross domestic product.
Howard Lutnick was also considered for Treasury Secretary for a little bit. What's the latest on the contenders there, by the way?
Mark Rowan, who's head of Apollo Global Management, is now a top contender. Hedge fund manager Scott Bessent and former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh are also apparently still in the running, Sabri.
All right, Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all up around the 1 to 0.2% range, with Dow futures up 81 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is 4.434%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab, helping people invest in ideas they believe in with Schwab investing themes, with more than 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com. And by Bitwarden Password Manager, designed to secure logins from any location on any device over the holidays. Available at bitwarden.com.
So much has changed in the years since the peak of the pandemic, not least of those things, how we work. And we're not just talking about working from home. Author and founder of the consulting firm Ferrazzi Greenlight, Keith Ferrazzi, has been doing a lot of work on how organizations can and should shift their mindset for this new era of work. His new book is called Never Lead Alone, 10 Shifts from Leadership to Teamship. My Marketplace colleague David Brancaccio sat down with Ferrazzi for more.
Let's start with a piece of this. You write that we have to elevate collaboration. What gets in the way of elevating collaboration, and how do we fix it?
I think we spend much too much time looking at our leaders. We need to spend more time looking at each other and how we work together. That's the principal idea between moving from a perspective of leadership to a perspective of teamship. You know, a good leader gives feedback, but a great team gives each other feedback. A good leader holds the team accountable, but a great team holds each other accountable. We've got to give the team a real roadmap on how to collaborate effectively and really build transformational outcomes in the world that we're in today.
I know, because you acknowledge this. We haven't changed that much. We're stuck in patterns and ruts. We need some practice in the proper ways to give people the feedback they need.
We looked at 3,000 successful teams and asked the question, what are the most effective practices of those teams? We find that conflict avoidance is one of the most erosive elements of all teams. So the high performing teams, they practice something called a candor break. Somewhere in the middle of a meeting, the team stops and says, okay, go into groups of 2 and ask the question, what's not being said in the room that should be said? The average room of 12 people have 4 people think that they're heard. When you do something like a simple candor break, 10 out of 12 people think that they're heard.
Help me with a couple things, though, Keith. I mean, everybody wants, you call for it in the book, agile teams. But how do you keep a team accountable, right? If it's a group effort, there's sometimes a tendency for no one to take actual responsibility.
Teams that are truly different, they have a different social contract, David. There's a wonderful company that we benchmarked called Elf Beauty. When they recruit a person, the commitment is you will grow further and faster than any other place you could work professionally. But in return, you have to shed your defensiveness. You have to care enough about each other to give the kind of feedback that you know you have each other's back. That's a social contract, and it needs to be solidified.
I mean, as I hear you, Keith, I mean, you're not just trying to make teams better. You're trying to change almost an entire business culture.
The bottom line, David, is yes, I believe our society more than ever before needs to have a collaborative culture and a set of practices to deal with the volatility and the innovation that's in front of us with new technologies like AI. And it makes me sad that we're clinging to very old ways of working born in the industrial era. And so, yes, I'm definitely looking for a much bigger change in organizational thinking, but I'm also hoping that it cascades out and it impacts how we behave as people, as friends, as families, and even as governments.
Keith Ferrazzi's brand new book, Never Lead Alone, 10 Shifts from Leadership to Teamship. Keith, thank you very much.
What a pleasure, David. Great to talk to you.
Keith Ferrazzi was speaking there with Marketplace's David Brancaccio. In New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.